I remember for a fact, like, some people are on the lower side and they just sort of make it in the threshold.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
but then, so that's the example I gave for B12, where someone on the lower end, like in the 200s, the normal range is like above 200 ke upar hona chahiye. And they're in the 200s and the reporters come back as normal. So they need to get above 400 to actually be in the optimal B12 zone.
What about the higher ends then?
Higher end ka bhi risk badhta hai. So this is another thing I wanted people to think about, is that a lot of people are just randomly, blindly taking supplements today, and it can backfire in many cases. Let me give you an example. So on B12 and folate, the specific research, high dose of this continuously helps to speed cancer growth. There's tons of...
Speed up cancer growth.
Yes.
So if you take high volumes of B12, you're going to have cancer. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and serum B12 levels have also been linked diagnostically. Like, I've seen many people who come and they have crazy high B12 levels, and they are vegetarian or vegan. Like, I've seen cases like this and you wonder like what the hell is going on. But the research is very clear in that there are tons of chronic disease conditions which can also influence these biomarkers. So another thing people need to understand in, like, when you're doing tests and stuff, is sometimes a marker might make you think something like serum iron ka test kar liya and you're normal, you think like iron levels so badhiya hai. But that's the worst marker for iron status. If you look at serum potassium, you think potassium levels are fine, but again, that's not a good marker for potassium status, because there's reasons in that serum iron and potassium both can be influenced by 5 to 10 things other than those nutrients. So there are better markers to test. Like for iron, you look at ferritin levels, you look at TIBC. Most people do a panel, not even know what these things are. They look at the serum and they think they're fine.
They usually look at the graphic जो वो बना के देती है
हाँ, और वो red करके देंगे कि भाई ये यहाँ पे issue है, thyroid में issue है. Thyroid का बताता हूँ. Thyroid conventionally.
I am borderline TSH to alarm.
What's the number?
If you can't watch a full podcast, watch a clip instead. You'll be as entertained and as informed. That's my guarantee. That's why you gotta subscribe to Dostcast Clips. I don't have the report right now. Huh?
But yeah, let me give you an example of this. Perfect.
But this is also from November when I was completely sedentary, doing nothing at all.
Okay, so having hypothyroid does contribute to weight gain. And having TSH, which is like for the normal report to flag it, you need to be very high, like over 5 or sometimes even more than that.
I can look it up.
For sure. But the optimal range for ideal metabolic rate and prevention of every other like risk of thyroid is seen under 2. Right, so this is radically different from the conventional range. Like, if you just go open your report and see TSH, you'll see that the range is much higher than the 2 number that I'm talking about. So I pick up, like, many times people come to test with me and we can pick up things early because you know, certain doctors aren't doing the right test. Like, for example, there's research which shows that thyroid antibodies get elevated years before you get a thyroid problem, like a diagnosis of Hashimoto's.
I can't find it. In fact, अगर मैं खोलूँगा ना अभी,
no worries, bro.
So it's gonna shut the recording down. But I do have the testosterone report if you want to read that.
Oh, we can check that for sure.
Yeah. But finish the thought first.
Yeah. So I was saying that thyroid antibodies, there's research showing that it can predict thyroid issue years before it happens. Like, so there's a lot of tests like that where you can catch problems quite early. Like, I'll give you an example. I was working on this depression case last month, and he came to me and he had like crazy high thyroid antibodies, 1000 ke upar hai. Okay, and this guy doesn't have any thyroid symptoms yet. But there's also another problem. He did have depression, and getting like depression is one of the symptoms of having Hashimoto's and like having thyroid issues like hypothyroid. But there are many other, like, people typically think about thyroid, they think weight gain, dry skin, baal gir rahe, getting a goiter. But there's more symptoms as well. So this guy did have depression and his thyroid antibodies were super elevated. That's been something which has been seen in the literature to, you know, trigger depression, is having hypothyroid. This is a known cause of depression. So this guy wasn't overweight. He isn't overweight yet. He hasn't got some of the worst symptoms of thyroid, but he's on his way there, right? And if I don't correct that and if I don't bring him down, in a couple of years, guaranteed he's going to develop a thyroid disorder. So that's the power of preventive diagnostics and knowing which markers to test for and knowing the value and the utility and the clinical use of these markers, and that you can catch problems way before they start.